everyone, this is Dr. Matsuko. Welcome back to our video lecture on cosmology, and this is our conclusions aspect. Alright, so you should have already watched a video on the reason that the Big Bang Theory is broadly accepted. Right, I categorize this evidence into three main areas. Right, the cosmological redshift, basically Hubble's law. Right, the Hubble's law, the CMB, right? And also the atomic ratios, which is pretty amazing in my mind. So there's three big pieces of evidence that cause it to be commonly accepted. Right, I also gave you a video on the horizon problem and the inflationary model. Right, this idea of like how could the entire universe be at the exact same temperature at the exact same time? How did the temperature all spread out so evenly? And so there's the additional idea that's been accepted that there must have been some exponential inflation at around 10 to the minus 32 seconds. So it must have expanded very rapidly. And that also explains other aspects of the theory. But why did this inflation happen? What caused a sudden expansion that's far faster than anything else, and then it slowed down again? So that's still an unanswered question. Right? So I want to talk about a couple of other unanswered questions, really unsolved mysteries that are currently going on right now in this space, in this field. One of them is the discrepancy of the Hubble constant. So the Hubble constant has to do with how fast the universe is expanding, and so called the expansion rate. Often put as h naught. Anyways, it's a number, it's a value, it's a property of the universe and how fast it's expanding. And there are really two key ways of calculating this specific number that we think that physicists think that these two different ways of calculating it should get to the same number, and they used to, right? So here in blue, using light from stars, if we look at the different stars, then we get some value in blue that's somewhere around 72-ish, but there's this huge error, right? And that's just science, that there's always going to be some error bars, and you don't know exactly for sure. Right, and then if we look at the Big Bang's afterglow, the CMB, then we get this value in pink, right? And when they first came out with these values in the early 2000s, we were like, oh great, they're very similar, they're very closely overlapped, and the error bars fit within each other. But then people have been working on these methods more and more closely, and so as we get over the years, they've been able to test it with more and more accuracy. And so now we have very small error bars. If we look at 2015, the latest that has been published looking at light from stars, and that's still somewhere around 72. What is that? 73-ish. But if we look at the CMB, actually that has been getting even more accurate. Actually, that has extremely small error bars at this point in time, and that has decreased. So it's at where the lower end of what it used to be. What is that now? 66 now. So again, they have gotten more and more accurate. It's changed a little bit, but as it's gotten more accurate, it's very clear, it's evident that there's a difference, right, between H naught, H0 if you measure it using the stars, or H0 if you measure it using the CMB. Right, so these are supposed to be the exact same values, but for some reason they're not the same. So why are they not the same? Is it because we're not measuring things correctly? But they're pretty sure in their measurement. Is it because there's something strange in the physics that there's actually supposed to be a H01, H02? I don't know. This is still a huge question that the physics community, the astronomy community is grappling with. Why is there this discrepancy in the Hubble constant? Another new unsolved mystery that came up about a year ago or so is this discussion about about if you remember, we talked about stellar evolution, right? That stars start as hydrogen and helium, and then they fuse together, and then they make these larger atoms, right? And then it's mostly in these, and then when they explode, they make really large atoms, right? So as we've been looking at the stars that are further and further away, that are more and more ancient, right? There's recently was taking some measurements of a star that was from they think that they think it should be 500 million years after the Big Bang. So this is a specific star that they're looking back in time to where this star is from just 500 million years after the Big Bang, and they found that it includes oxygen. Oxygen, which the current physics, the current theory suggests that this should only be found in second generation stars, which means that a star must have been born and died, and then another star made out of its dust, right? But this is from only 500 million years ago, and the current theory is that stars were only starting to be born around 500 million years. So how is it that a star had been born and died, and then a new star born in this short time frame? So does this mean that everything is slightly earlier than we predict, that everything has been shifted forward? So can we just shift our time scale a little bit and say that solves everything? Or are we totally wrong? Was oxygen made from the very beginning? Um, uh, we don't know. This is a very unanswered question. I think physicists are definitely leaning, in the past year, they're leaning towards saying there's only a small update, that basically we should just shift our timelines up a little bit. But it is a very interesting question, and I truly believe that as we find even more evidence and find even more data about the universe, there's going to be more and more questions that will be unsolved. Right. So there are still unanswered questions, and there will be even more unanswered questions. I'm predicting, but at the present time, this inflationary Big Bang model theory is definitely the best scientific theory we have to explain the universe. And many people say it's the origin of the universe, but as I said in the introduction, right, we can't explain what happened in that first 10 to the minus 42 seconds. We really don't know, and so we don't know what started the Big Bang. We don't know why it started. We don't know how it started. We can explain what has happened since the Big Bang, but we don't know exactly the origin of the Big Bang, right? So the Big Bang model actually explains the evolution of the universe, how it has changed with time, but it still can't explain the very, very start. And that's where science leaves us, and it's left for us to decide what we are going to believe about the very, very beginning.